Hello, and welcome to the next installment of the Connecting with Aphrodite series. My name is Stephanie, and I'm a priestess of Aphrodite. I'm delighted to have you along on this journey. In my last video, I talked about the importance of making space for the goddess in your life. Once you've created physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual space for Aphrodite, it is time to seek her out and invite her in. The process and experience of connection will be different for every person. You can use what follows as a general guide, but do not feel limited by it. If you feel called to do something different, do it. If nothing happens, try the same method again. And if that doesn't work, try something different. As I've said before, pursuing a goddess is an experimental process. You have to figure out what works best for you and for her. Your connection with Aphrodite will be unique. Remember that you are dealing with a goddess with her own agency. Respect is critical. You cannot simply command her to show up. I mean, you can, but I'll guarantee you it's not going to go over very well. The process of forming a relationship with the deity is similar to making a new friend or to courting a new lover. It may feel a little awkward at first, and some actions will be categorically different. I'm pretty sure you'd scare off a new friend if you tried to make an offering to them. But a lot of the same social skills will apply. Be courteous. Don't just talk, listen. Be generous. Don't ask for huge favors right off the bat. Keep in mind that relationships are a two-way street, including relationships with the divine. You cannot dictate exactly how your interaction will go. In that, there's an element of the unknowable. To have a spiritual experience, the divine has to pick up the line on their end of your cosmic phone call. Sometimes they just don't. That's okay and normal, especially when you're first starting out. As you build a stronger relationship, that connection will become more and more reliable. With all of that in mind, you are ready to start seeking out Aphrodite. The first, most practical and influential thing that you can do in seeking to connect with Aphrodite is to honor her. You can do this through ritual, prayer, and offerings. You can celebrate her holy days. You can integrate her into your life. While I celebrate Aphrodite every day, when I was first starting out, I paid special attention to her sacred days. For me, this was the major Sabbath of Beltane, full moons, especially during the summer, and Fridays. Those were the holidays that meshed best with my pagan practice and were the most natural point for me to start integrating Aphrodite. I also honored her on some more secular holidays. My birthday, my and my boyfriend's anniversary, Valentine's Day, and New Year's, particularly when I was celebrating the Italian way. Scoppi a Capodanno, scoppi tutto l'anno. If you know, you know. As time went on, I picked up more historical days like Aphrodite and Veneralia. In 2020, I celebrated Anagogia and Catagogia for the first time. For a while, I tried to honor Aphrodite according to the Athenian Hellenic calendar on the fourth day after the new moon of each month. But this didn't really fit into my personal practice. It felt too forced to be authentic for me, and there were other days that I felt were more natural and had a better flow. This experience highlighted the importance of finding ways to honor her and celebrate her that worked for me and for her. The most vital thing was that my heart and soul were in it, whichever day I celebrated Aphrodite. I always honor Aphrodite on the anniversary of my priestesshood, which is also the anniversary of my dedication to her, a year and a day before that. It is a special and sacred time for my personal relationship with her, and marking these occasions each year has been meaningful and wonderful. You may wish to do something to mark the occasion from the first time you contacted or experienced Aphrodite. Monthly with the phases of the moon, or with the changes of the seasons, or whatever feels right to you. I have some more specific ideas on how to honor the goddess in my blog posts on modern pagan worship of Aphrodite, which you can find over at priestessofaphrodite.com. One of the most common ways that I connected with Aphrodite early in our relationship, and I still do, is through meditation. Meditation enables me to quiet my mind and be receptive to receiving messages from the divine. It doesn't need to be a completely clear your mind kind of meditation. In fact, mine rarely are. My meditations are usually active and are more likely to involve dancing or chanting than just sitting with my eyes closed. If I am sitting still with my eyes closed, it's usually for a vivid visualization or for a journey. I've found that there is value in both the activity and in the quiet, the focus and the clear mind. There are many different types of meditation. Try out several and find one that works for you. I find having something that connects to Aphrodite around during my meditation is very helpful. This may mean burning some jasmine incense, or spraying the room with rose water, anointing myself with rose essential oil, holding a rose quartz or a seashell, or contemplating an image of her. I have a few different meditations on my blog as well as on this YouTube channel if you would like to check those out. There is a playlist with different meditations. Once you have set up a pretty regular meditation practice and you feel open to receiving divine messages, try talking to Aphrodite in that liminal space of meditation. This can be extemporaneous prayer, a recited poem, or even just free-form chanting. The most important component of this is listening for what she has to say. Just like in human relationships, listening is key to successful rapport with the divine. Communication may come in the form of audible words, a series of impressions or feelings, thoughts dropped into your head that are not your own, a flash of images, or something entirely different. The method of communication may differ depending on what method you use to reach out. For example, when I am journeying, I will most often see and hear things in my mind's eye and my mind's ear. While I am in a conscious, focused state writing a ritual, Aphrodite will speak through me through sentences that are dropped into my head or typed out on the page before I can even register that my fingers are moving. It varies depending on the day and on the circumstance. Remember that listening is more than just hearing. Did Aphrodite give you some advice? Did she answer your request? Did she ask you to do something? Listen to her and follow through on what she says. Obviously, if she asks you to do something that goes against your personal values, you have the free will to say no. You can always say no. I've never had this particular experience with her. She's never asked something of me that I was not willing to give. However, I have had friends with experiences with other deities where this was not the case. Sure, there have been plenty of times when Aphrodite asked me to do something that was uncomfortable, but in each of these instances, it was about overcoming a fear or a limiting belief that was holding me back. It wasn't fun, but I could see that it would be beneficial for me and that she had my best interest at heart. Always use discernment when interacting with the divine. But if she requests a particular kind of incense as an offering or asks for you to honor her on a specific day, listen to her and do so if you are able. I will put a caveat in here that sometimes divine messages don't make sense. Occasionally, their meaning only becomes clear with time, or in rare instances, not at all. I've received divine messages that were immediately helpful, some that made sense once I was in a particular situation, and some that I still have no clue what they mean. All of these are valid. As I discuss in my blog posts on dealing with spiritual doubt as a pagan, messages whose meanings are immediately obvious actually help to combat my doubt. Because if I were making all of this spiritual stuff up in my head, it would have at least made sense. You may want to keep a journal of your experiences to help track which communication methods work and which don't, what messages you receive, and what you think they mean. It's nice to be able to look back on a record of your experiences and to be able to reference word for word what was said. I'm not the best about keeping up with this practice, though I have a mishmash of carefully documented experiences in my journal, frantic writing by candlelight, also in my journal, an assortment of typed notes on my phone, and some voice memos with songs and chants. In conclusion, the best way to start connecting with Aphrodite is to just reach out. It doesn't have to be fancy. You don't need special tools or baubles, just yourself and a dedication to keep trying. Once you have successfully and consistently made contact with her, you can begin to pursue a relationship with her. And that will be the topic of my next video on connecting with Aphrodite, cultivating a relationship with the goddess. Thank you so much for joining me, and brightest of blessings to you on your journey.